Chapter number 24, Moral. Let us mark and note carefully what Baba had taught us by this incident. He has advised us that before the senses, mind and intellect enjoy their objects, first we should be remembered, and if this be done, it is in a way by making or offering to him. The senses, etc., can never remain without their objects. But if those objects are first offered to the Guru, the attachment for them will naturally vanish. In this way, all the witty's subtle thoughts regarding desire, anger, avarice, etc., should first be offered and directed to the Guru, and if this practice be followed, be offered and directed to the Guru, Lord will help you in eradicating all the witches. When before enjoyment of the objects you think that Baba is present, the question whether the object is fit to be enjoyed or not will at once arise. Then the object that is not fit to be enjoyed will be shunned, and in this way our vicious habits or vices will disappear and our character will improve. Then love for the Guru will grow and pure knowledge will sprout up. When this knowledge grows, the bondage of Baba consciousness, we are the body, will snap and our intellect will be merged in spirit consciousness. We are the spirit. Then we shall get bliss and contentment. There is no difference between Guru and God. He who sees any difference in them find God now where? Nowhere. So leaving aside all ideas of differences, we should regard Guru and God as one. And if we serve our Guru as stated above, God will be certainly pleased, and by purifying our minds will give us self-realization. To put the matter in a nutshell, we should not enjoy any object with our senses, etc., without first remembrance our Guru Baba, and our meditation on Baba will grow apace. The Sagun form of Baba will and salvation will all be ours. When Baba's form is thus fixed before our mental vision, we forget hunger, thirst, and this sansar world. The consciousness of worldly pleasures will disappear, and our mind shall attain peace and happiness. Sudama's story. When the above story was being narrated, Hemant Pant reminded of a similar story of Sudama, which illustrates the same principle, and therefore it is given here. Sri Krishna and his elder brother Balaram were living with a co-student named Sudama in the ashram of their Guru Sandipani. Once Krishna and Balaram were sent to the forest for bringing fuel. Then the wife of Sandipani sent Sudama also for the same purpose, with some quantity of grams for the three. When Krishna met Sudama in the forest, he said to him, Dada, I want water, as I am thirsty. Sudama replied, No water should be drunk on an empty stomach, so it is better to rest a while. He did not say that he had got grams with him and asked Krishna should take some. As Krishna was tired, he lay down for rest on the lap of Sudama and was soon snoring. On seeing this, Sudama took out the grams and began to eat. Then Krishna suddenly asked him, Dada, what are you eating? What is this chatter sound? He replied, What is there to eat? I am shivering and with cold, and my teeth are chattering. I can't even repeat Vishnu Sahasranam. Hearing this, the omniscient Krishna said, I just had a dream in this. He said, What dust should be eat? Meaning thereby that he had nothing to eat. The other man said, Let it be so, Dada. This is only a dream. I know that you won't eat anything without me. Under the influence of the dream, I asked you what you were eating. If Sudama had known the omniscient Sri Krishna and his Leelas, he would not have attacked as he did. Therefore, he had to suffer for what he did. Though he was a chum of Sri Krishna, he had to pass his later life in utter poverty. But when he later offered Krishna handful of purchased rice earned by his wife with his own labor, Krishna was pleased and gave him a golden estate to enjoy. This story should be remembered by those who have the habit of eating things alone without partaking them with others.